Recently, for Godzilla Day on the 3rd of November, we got two brand new short films in order to not only commemorate the 68th anniversary of the King of the Monsters, but also the 50th anniversary of everyone's favorite cybernetic chicken, Gigan. These films in question are Godzilla vs Gigan Rex and Godzilla Festival 3 Gigan's Attack. Now, plenty of videos have already been made that discuss these two shorts, but I figured that as the #1 Gigan authority on the internet, I might as well throw in my 2 cents when it comes to these shorts and see how they treat my favorite Godzilla monster. So without further ado, let's jump right on into it. First, let's talk about Godzilla vs Gigan Rex. Now, this short was actually a sequel to another short that was released back in 2019 called G vs G, and Gigan Rex was also made by many of the same people who worked on the original G vs G, except this time, instead of being a more independent short, Gigan Rex actually had Toho themselves to help back the project. So how did it turn out? Honestly, it was pretty cool. There isn't really that much to say here, considering that this is just a fun little fight scene that was made for the anniversary, but there are definitely a few things I want to bring up. Firstly, the animation was pretty good. You can definitely tell that there was that additional backing from Toho to really spruce up this short and make it something really exciting. Comparing the original G vs G to this, you can really see that boost in quality. It isn't perfect. There are a few instances where the monsters seem a bit stiff in their movements, such as this shot here of Godzilla throwing one of the Gigan soldiers, or the Gigan soldiers ramming into Godzilla, but it's only really like that a couple times. The rest of the time, the movements are really slick and well posed, especially once Gigan Rex enters the fray. Speaking of Gigan Rex, I really like this new interpretation of Gigan. While the psychotic dork who barely knows what he's doing Gigan of the Showa era and Final Wars will always be my preferred take of the character, this take is pretty cool too. Gigan Rex is basically everything that the Godzilla fandom hypes up Gigan to be. That being a badass cutthroat assassin who's armed to the teeth and ready for the kill. And for what it's worth, it's really cool. I really like the new powers that Gigan Rex and the subsequent Gigan soldiers are given, such as Rex's chainsaw whip hands and boob eye, or the soldiers' fully protruded belly buzzsaws. Their designs are really cool too. Once again, I'll always prefer the Showa and Final Wars designs, but this sleek and almost synthetic design really works. It's like if Gigan was turned into an Evangelion angel. It goes pretty hard. I also really like Godzilla's design in this too. It's pretty similar to the design from the original G vs G, but it's been made to be a bit more lean and sleek, and I kinda like this look better. It just seems way more mobile and free to move around as opposed to the original design, which had a neck that seemed to be locked in one position exclusively. Speaking of Godzilla, the last big thing I want to talk about in regard to this short is less of a fact but more of an implication. Many have speculated that this short is actually a sequel to the Heisei series of Godzilla films, as indicated by a few things, such as the first shot in the short echoing the final shot of Godzilla vs Destroya, the fact that this film is referenced to have happened about 25 years after Godzilla vs Destroya, which, yeah, that lines up. And longtime Heisei series actress Megumi Odaka coming back to do the narration for the opening of this short. If this turns out to be true, then this is actually really fun. This is the first time that an era would have a confirmed continuation after it ended, even if it is just in a short film as opposed to a full-on film. Personally though, I think that an equally likely option is that this is either just a sequel to G vs G or its own standalone thing, and the 25 years line could just be a reference to the original short or some other event that happened previously in this timeline. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer here, but I think it's just as likely a scenario as this short being a Heisei series sequel. As for anything else I want to talk about, I really like how they reused that piece of Beethoven music that was in the original short, and the part where it showed up went insanely hard. And there was plenty of super cool imagery to be found in this short, whether it be Godzilla and Gigan Rex's powered up forms or their respective beam lock. Other than that though, that's kinda all I have to say in regards to Godzilla vs Gigan Rex. It's a fun little short with good animation, a rad new interpretation of Gigan, and some food for thought when it comes to timelines and continuities. So now that that's all said and done, on to Gigan's Attack. Much like Gigan Rex, Gigan's Attack is once again a sequel to another short that was released, this time being last year's Godzilla vs Hedorah short. I thought that short was just okay, with the biggest critiques being the really janky Godzilla suit along with, and I can't believe I'm gonna say this, the seeming lack of any monster action on screen. However, I'm happy to say that Gigan's Attack is a big step up over last year's Hedorah short. One of the big things that makes this short better is the clear boost in production design. Unlike the Hedorah short, this short was partially funded by a Kickstarter campaign known as the Gigan Suit Raising Project, which also led to the creation of a brand new Showa Gigan suit, which we'll talk about in a bit. But the money earned from that Kickstarter sure led to something that looked really good. The miniatures themselves look really impressive, like something that came right out of the Millennium era. Not only that, but there was also a much heavier usage of special effects and pyrotechnics that really gave this short a more professional feeling to it. The cinematography is also really nice, with a lot more variation and overall better looking shots than the Hedorah short. I noted the janky Godzilla suit as a problem with the Hedorah short, but this time the suit got a bit of an upgrade. The jankiness was still there. You can definitely tell that this particular Final Wars Godzilla suit is almost 20 years old, but stuff such as a working mouth added a lot more to this suit and make it seem much more alive than last time. And hey, it's appropriate that this is the second time that a brand new Showa Gigan suit has fought against an old janky Godzilla suit. Speaking of that Showa Gigan suit, let's finally talk about it. Like I stated, this suit was a part of the Gigan Suit Rising Kickstarter, and the money that was earned from it certainly went to great use as the new suit itself looks splendid. But I do have a big problem with it. The proportions of the suit just don't look right to me. I think the thing that throws me off the most is just how short the neck is. Showa Gigan always had a longer neck. Not giraffe lengths, but definitely not squat like this new suit. I took a shot of the new suit in Photoshop and decided to change up the neck so it's not so short and hunched over, and yeah, it looks way better and way more accurate. Aside from that though, this new Gigan suit is really nice. You can definitely tell that the actor inside the suit had a lot of room to move around in, even being able to rotate the hook hands around, which I don't think any other Gigan suit has been able to. I also love the little details such as him having a glowing eyeball, kinda silly to point out, but it just looks so right on Gigan. And also him having a laser beam on top of his head, something that was previously only limited to posters and in video games. So seeing him actually be able to use it in a film is so awesome. Another thing I really like is how this short treats Gigan as a character. I praise Gigan Rex for having a cool new interpretation of Gigan, but here we get something that's much more like classic Gigan. That dorky but vicious side of the character is on full display here, and he has plenty of personality to go alongside it too. That scene where he realizes his laser doesn't work anymore and he's like, huh? That's classic Gigan, and I love to see it. They treated my boy well, and I respect that immensely. Aside from that, I think that's all I really gotta say in regards to this short. Not as much as Gigan Rex, but Gigan Attacks was much more simple than that one, and it didn't have as much to talk about it. It kept things much more traditional with the characters, and we got yet another fun Suitmation Godzilla fight. All in all, Gigan Attacks is definitely a win. Before we wrap up the video, there is one more thing I want to bring up before I go. If you've been following these shorts for the past couple years, you know Toho hasn't exactly been too kind on people re-uploading these shorts to places like YouTube and Internet Archive. But what makes this a problem is that Toho themselves refuse to upload these shorts in any sort of manner, meaning that the only way to watch them is through shoddy livestream re-uploads. Currently at the time of this video's writing, Gigan Rex is still publicly available on the official Japanese Godzilla YouTube channel, with no plans on it being taken down to my knowledge, but Gigan Attack was only available through the Godzilla Day livestream and has since been taken down. This happened last year with the Hedorah short too, and I just don't understand why this is the case. It's not like these won't bring in views. Gigan Rex has just recently surpassed 2 million views, and who knows how many Gigan Attacks or Hedorah would have gotten if both of them had just stayed on their YouTube channel. Also, remember when I said Gigan Attacks was Kickstarter backed? It just seems kind of wrong for Toho to have the short film that many different people paid for out there in the world, only for it to be taken down a week later and any re-upload of it that exists will be taken down. Granted, the suit itself was also a part of the Kickstarter, and it did get plenty of time to shine at the Godzilla Day event itself, and I cannot imagine that it won't be used again. Here's hoping that it'll be used in next year's Megalon short, but still, it just seems wrong that Toho just chooses not to upload these shorts in any sort of capacity. There has naturally been a ton of backlash because of this, and hopefully this will push Toho to keep these shorts up on their YouTube channel after they are released in future years. But these are just my thoughts, and I want to know yours. What did you guys think of both of these shorts? Which one did you prefer? And what are your guys' hopes for any shorts that come out of Toho in the future? Be sure to sound off these thoughts and more in the comments section down below, and be sure to follow me on any of my social medias and join my Discord server if you want updates on upcoming videos or just want to hear goofy rants about giant monster stuff. And if you like what you saw and want to see more, then be sure to hit that subscribe button. Either way, I'm Sam the Gigan fan, reminding you all to wash your hands and wishing Gigan a happy 50th birthday.